Live from Bixton Boulevard and Rock Bottom Avenue. This is Cellar County with Butch and Coffee.
What's going on, guys? Happy Tuesday out there. Hope everyone's doing well.
Or Wednesday, depending on when you're watching this. Anyway, next episode of Cellar County. We have, this past weekend has just been terrible. Crazy and terrible, yes.
Big news, obviously, coming from the land of entertainment. Alex Trebek passing away.
Yeah, that one hurt. That one really did hurt.
It caught me off guard only because we knew what his diagnosis was. We knew he had it, but there was hope that he was going to make it through to at least when they were going to start airing episodes and whatnot. And it literally blew apart my entire Sunday because it was tough to take in. You know, a icon that's been around my entire childhood and
Same.
the mainstay of the main culture here in the United States. I mean, Jeopardy is synonymous to millions of Americans. Everyone loves tuning into the show. You got the celebrities that come in. You got the infamous episodes with Watson versus the Human. It's
you got the also infamous episodes with a certain sports gambler from Naperville.
Oh God.
Yeah. But yeah, rest in peace, Alex Trebek. It's gonna be very tough to move on without you, but
what is tonight's topic? A good way and a fitting tribute to Alex. May he rest in peace.
But now it's become even more miserable this past weekend. Oh my God. Our teams are falling. Well, I would say falling apart. We knew they were going to be terrible, but my God.
You know what one team has to offer. The other team, you just don't know what you're going to get out of them. Let's start off, though, with the frauds, the Chicago Bears.
Okay. I know some people out there are saying, oh, it was 24-17. It was close. No. If you watch that game, they didn't score anything till the fourth quarter.
So it was all garbage points.
I would say those guys there were like one or two great plays, but it's like you couldn't do this earlier in the game. My God, every week I look at the Bears, I'm like, you guys are being more and more exposed every week. Even when you win, you're still being exposed.
I don't understand the Bears only because they have beaten quality opponents like the Patriots. The Tampa Bay Bucks. I still can't get over the fact that Brady's in Tampa Bay. But you guys
I've officially accepted that.
You guys have had some maybe decent wins. I mean, looking back, the Lions aren't great. The Giants suck. The Falcons are turning around, but they were god-awful when you guys beat them. But you guys have played very well against teams like the Saints and the Colts. And just, you guys came in with expectations to compete with Tennessee, and you guys did come out until the game was basically wrapped up. It blows my mind to think that the Bears are actually considered contenders, and yet you don't know what team you're going to get out of them every week. It's crazy. Meanwhile, over here in the Mitten, you know what team you're going to get because the Lions are continuous garbage.
Okay, can I just say honestly about your Lions? You guys may be garbage, but I can at least think of 5 teams who are a bigger dumpster fire than you.
We are at the point, the Texans screwed themselves out of the future with Bill Bryant's their entire future. They're in limbo because they can't tank for Trevor Lawrence, and they certainly can't win the AFC South. The Lions are in this perpetual neutral position. They can't go anywhere. They can't go up. They can't go down. And when you have the number 3 overall pick in the draft, you draft Tua Tagovailoa. You draft some unknown quarterback out of Ohio State who, let's be honest, has been flat-out garbage for us this season. You see Tua come in with 2 impressive wins for the Miami Dolphins, and he's starting to turn that franchise around. And it just seems like we can't get out of the mud. it seems like we're still sinking in quicksand. You can hear the people screaming, but this management, this ownership is not doing anything to save it. It blows my mind how bad the Lions are. It blows my mind that we still have Quinn Trisha here, and I know this is a repeated theme every week. It's like being a dead horse to death, but my God, at least you guys have some sort of success. At least you guys have wins you could talk about, and not wins against garbage heap teams like the Atlanta frickin' Falcons and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Man, this hurts my soul to know we don't have anything to look forward to. Detroit sports suck, and the Lions are the shit show on top.
Every week is going to be a Lions rant by Butch. That's the podcast now.
It hurts me. I hate talking about this team, but, I mean, I need this release. It hurts my soul, man. You have to understand.
Yeah, I understand completely because I was in your shoes. So.
Real fast before we go on to the midseason outlook, just who the Lions lost to in the Vikings. Do you think they'll make the playoffs?
The Vikings or the Bears?
Vikings.
My
friend thinks they're gonna win out and go possibly 10-6.
Your friend, wait, 10-6.
Yes. He thinks they're going to go 10-6 straight out and sneak into the playoffs.
Right. Tell your friend he needs to stop smoking the pipe. Because that is not happening. I do not see that happening. They are not winning.
Cook's a god.
They get to 500. That's a good thing they get to 500. But to say win out, to go 10-6?
Yeah.
Dude, no. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Kirk Cousins isn't that good. He thinks they're going to carry on the legs of Dalvin Cook. Oh, man. I know he's hitting the pipe, but damn, 10-6, that is a crack.
You know what that is to me? That's like the same people who say that LaMelo Ball is going to be drafted first in the draft. That's not going to happen, people. If that does happen, I will literally drink a whole bottle of Hennessy if that happens.
Oh my God, the Ball family.
And the draft is coming, what, like in a week from now? The draft is like a week from now?
We will get to the draft. It is shocking how fast the NBA is moving with their pace, but
we'll get to the NBA in a moment.
We need to stick on topic because we're at the midway point of the NFL season, folks. It is hard to believe, but we have somewhat survived COVID with a couple of scares. And there's a few burning questions that we must ask. Here's the first one I have for you, Mr. Coffee. The NFC East will have a team finish with a record of 500 or better.
I say that's a possibility. The Eagles just might pull up, but that's like a big if. Given the remainder of their schedule, it's possible. Well, it's not going to be 500 officially, but to go 8-7, to go 8-7-1, that to me is the closest thing you're going to get. So I would say no.
The tie is going to outright destroy their efforts to go above 500. I really feel like this team might go 7-8-1. If we're being honest with ourselves.
I would say they get that one extra win, go 8-7-1.
Because I don't see Dallas going anywhere.
Dallas is. I would say they're a dumpster fire, but after that injury, Prescott, you're not going anywhere.
You hope the man gets paid, but damn, especially you already had the franchise tag on him. That's gotta hurt. You got Daniel Jones currently being considered benched for this upcoming game, and you're about to start the one and only Alex Smith, who has made a miraculous comeback. This week is making his NFL start against the Detroit Lions. You wish the best for him.
Right.
What's up?
I forgot. Yeah, Washington is playing Detroit this weekend. All I can say to that is that no matter what happens, that's a win for me to see him back on the field.
It is a win. It is. The injury was gruesome. so much recovery time. And you compare the injuries with what Alex Theismann suffered back in '85, and it's even awesome just to see him take the field. It's going to be a heartfelt story on Sunday when he gets the start. So, really hope he does well and beats my Lions. Second question. The most surprising team of the first half has been blank. I'll let you lead off.
So I can think of a few teams that have been surprising. One that immediately comes to mind would definitely be the 49ers, because I did not expect them to go for the season go that poorly for them, 4-5.
Jimmy G has pretty much imploded. They've suffered so many injuries, and it is shocking to me that they're at the bottom of their division. Sticking in the division, my team that surprised me the most has been the Cardinals. Kyler Murray has really turned around, and Kingsbury has been proven somewhat to not be a failure of a head coach.
Well, let's look at Jimmy G for a moment with his. I want to go back to him and his ankle. Is that ankle injury is one of those injuries where, as a guy who played basketball in high school, when you mess up your ankle, if you don't take proper care and don't recover to 100%, it's gonna get worse, and it's gonna be the most awkward thing imaginable. And I go
in the ass.
It's one of those things where it's like, okay, if I wouldn't say call it the season, but yeah, I would say you want to put him on the bench and just let him sit the rest of the year, because trying to bring him back now would just make things worse.
With the 49ers, with Jimmy G's injury, with the amount of injuries this team has suffered, is this the Super Bowl hangover of epic proportions we are witnessing? Is there a possibility the 49ers miss the playoffs?
It is a definite possibility. I would say they're not going to make playoffs, but I would say this is the Super Bowl hangover. I would just say this is just crap luck, because to me, a Super Bowl hangover is you keep all your key pieces and you don't do anything with them. 49ers has just suffered injury after injury after injury. I'm just trying to say, how are you still managing to put a team together?
It blows my mind, especially with some of the wins they've had this season. They managed to kind of stay into the thick of it, but at 4-5, it's not looking too hopeful.
I don't think they're making the playoffs, especially with the new playoff format.
Which, holy crap, we will get to that later, but shocking news out of today. That was crazy. Speaking of that, we are going to that right now, actually. Excuse my French. The 16-team expanded playoff is a brilliant concept for the NFL, yes or no?
Given the current circumstances, I would say yes, given the current circumstances. But in any other point,
are you saying that because of the NFC East?
I'm saying that because of how the virus has changed how the NFL is played, and if the case that if you have something that falls apart, like it almost did with the MLS, you need a backup plan. And and I'm saying for this season alone, it's fine. But had this been a perfectly healthy season, I'd say this would be the worst idea ever.
No, you do not include half the teams in football to go to the playoffs, with the exception of a crazy year like 2020. My thing was, yes, because we are going to get an extra team that's not going to be screwed over by the NFC East. To think that the NFC East, the division winner will host, and let's be honest, it's going to be the Eagles. To think that the Eagles are probably going to finish with maybe a 500 record, if not a subpar 500 record, is going to host a playoff game against a winning team blows my mind. We might have, for example, right now the season will finish, we might have the Bears playing at Philly. Oh, I'm so sorry. I just realized what I just said. Oh, God.
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah. Wow.
You wonder why I would feel something
spinning in the brain, man. Oh, I am so sorry. That is horrible.
It's
the curse of the devil's like.
Well, let the record show that in the past few years alone, we had more doinks than we've ever had in the NFL. Let's just get that out there. We had I don't remember if this was the NFL or this was like a college game, but we had a doink that hit 4 times, the quadruple doink.
Oh, Rice taking 3 timeouts and setting up for a field goal only to suffer innocuous fate with that field goal attempt.
Good.
Oh, brother. That was horrible. That made me sick to my stomach that even happened.
Well, here's the other thing I can say about the 16-team playoffs is that with the way it's set up, I wouldn't say you technically fully eliminate the wild card, but at the same time, it's like, do you really want to put the NFL in a position where Washington would be in the playoffs?
See, we have to consider the rest. All right, there is a possibility that may happen. You may have another team, possibly out of a certain division, that may make the playoffs that you might be scratching your head as to why. What I hope the NFL does is they base it off of winning percentage, like what the MLB did for their playoffs. That's what I think it will come down to in terms of the 16-team playoff. It is a good format that is only good for this year, and if they base the calculations off of winning percentage, it will be done successfully. If they try to go about doing it traditionally and eliminate the wild card spot, then yes, I could see where the controversy lies.
The only other thing I can say about this 16-team postseason is that
your Bears might make it in.
The Bears might make it in, but personally, as a sports fan, when you do a playoff format like this and you take half the teams, that does not mean that, oh, I'm in the playoffs. It's like the same thing I said with the NBA. The NBA has 30 teams. 16 teams make the playoffs. That's more than half. You're going to get some garbage teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, but you also might have some Cinderella stories.
You might have
this is the NFL, and there's parity, unlike the NBA.
If I want Cinderella stories, I watch college football.
Look, all it takes is one game. Look at last year. Look at the Ravens. The Ravens had the best record in the NFL.
Let me rephrase that. I watched the FCS, where the playoff format's an actual freaking tournament, and now this team won conference. Oh, this team won conference. Oh, but we gotta have 2 SEC teams in the playoffs.
Oh, jeez. Oh, you're going there. All
right.
I
still say this is okay. Just throw out there. I still say the college football playoff is still an improvement over the BCS, but it's still not enough teams.
I feel that. So,
it's all the SEC. The SEC can just breathe it. It's like you get an automatic playoff team.
Before we move on, do you have any more outlooks for the midseason?
I would say best case, if I were to predict right now for both of our teams, and you're free to disagree with this, I would say best case for each team, Bears would possibly go 9-7, Lions would get 6-10.
I was gonna say the same. 6-10 for my Lions, but and you guys might go 8-8.
I can actually see that. I can actually see it now.
For what you guys had at the beginning to what you guys have done now has been an improvement. For what my Lions have done, they have royally shit the bed. Moving on now, we got predictions. First one, leading off the bat, the New York butt fumble that is the New York Jets will finish blank. Coffee?
What I think they're going to finish, what I believe they're going to finish, or what I want for them to finish?
Everything. On the kitchen table.
What I think they should finish, I think realistically they'll probably go 3-13. Let's be real, they'll probably steal a few games at the end. What I think is going to happen, they'll get 1 win. At least. I don't know how many. I'm trying. Let me look at their schedule.
Okay. I did look at their schedule so I could help you out a teeny bit. The last team they play at the end of the season is the New England Patriots. That game last night was so close. Can
I say one thing? I have never in my life, wished more for a Patriots win. Because not only did I get to tell my brother I told you so, because he and my mom have this belief that the underdog at home at Monday night will always win. And I said that's not true, but they keep saying that, and every time I try to prove them wrong, they end up being right. Well, not last night, and not only that, I'll be honest, I had some money on the game because I live in Indiana.
Oh God,
because I can gamble now in this state.
Yep. Thank God for Indiana.
Because of that, I had a $158 profit from last night's game.
Good for you, man.
$158 off of a freaking field goal at the end of the game. I was.
And just to let the fans know, we endorse sports betting only when it's legal. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink, wink.
Good for you, man. I didn't bet this week.
All right. So here's the main schedule. They have the Chargers. They have the Dolphins. They have the Raiders. They have the Seahawks. They have the Rams. They have the Browns.
Possible.
And then they have the Patriots.
Only game they might have a chance, but I'm gonna say a loss.
Well, I would say if I were to say, let's say I go back to the whole 3-13 thing with them stealing thing. I can see a steal. I can see a stolen game against the Chargers. I can see a stolen game against the Raiders. I can see a stolen game against the Browns.
Whoa! No. I would say if anything, the only game they might steal out of the schedule might be Miami. Miami and New England are the only two games. Maybe even Cleveland. If you get lucky, the right circumstances are there.
So we said what I think is going to happen and what I believe is going to happen. What I want to happen, 0-16.
I'm going to repeat
this team does not deserve any good things to happen to them.
This team does not deserve Trevor Lawrence, and it's probably going to be a situation like 2004 where the quarterback, the number 1 overall draft pick, does not want to go to the team. Trevor Lawrence will end up staying at Clemson.
I wouldn't say I want players to get hurt, but I'm just saying the franchise as a whole, nothing good should happen to you guys. You guys are the biggest. You guys are garbage in the NFL. And this is coming from a guy who has the McCaskies.
Yeah. And
this is coming from a guy. This is from a guy who can, to a degree, sympathize with the Raiders.
Oh, gee.
Those are
some fighting words, son.
To a degree, I could sympathize with them. This is coming from a guy who basically keeps poking the bear about the Lions and how nothing good's gonna. How I keep poking the bear. This is a guy who basically I can feel sympathy for a lot of teams when they struggle. I have zero sympathy for the Jets.
Excuse me if I'm clear my throat for a second. I have no sympathy for this garbage ass team either. They play in New Jersey.
I will feed off of the fans' salty tears at this point.
Well, I think here's my predictions for this garbage ass team. And I know I keep saying garbage ass team because the Jets are literally a garbage ass team. Well, I think will happen. The Jets will finish 1-15. I think they'll steal away that final game against the Patriots just from how they played yesterday. Cam Newton is making me question whether or not he's going to be in the league next year. I think this is his last tenure as an NFL starter. Here's what I want to happen. 0-16. I want Trevor Lawrence to say, no, I am not going to the butt fumble. I am going back to Clemson and lead them to a 3-peats. Circumstances pending.
Yeah.
What is going to happen in this 2020 reality is we're about to have our third 0-16 team, baby.
So you are strongly feeling the 0-16.
Yep, let the fire rain. Sam Darnold is a trash quarterback, and Adam Gase does not even know what the hell he is doing on the football field. If you watched that game last night, clock management, that was one of the dumbest errors I've ever seen a head coach make in my life. You put the ball away with 17 seconds left on the time clock when you could have practically ran down the damn thing and put away the ball with no time left. Y'all screwed up royally. The Jets hurt me, man.
The Jets. I don't want to be negative, but everything about the Jets is just negative and A1. And I will stand by my fact that I will. How about this? I'm just gonna say this, Butch. How about this? We will redo our whole Jets thing at the end of the season. For every win they get, we have to take a shot on camera.
Yes.
On camera,
Yes.
you and I are taking shots.
Yes.
For every win they get.
Oh God, did they go? Oh my God, did they go 8-0? Oh no! No!
Well.
Oh, R.I.P. my stomach. Let's see.
R.I.P. my liver.
This is about to be painful. This sounded chats, excuse me, this comes true. Speaking of the Jets and a certain head coaches most likely will be fired at the end of the season are, and we had two names already etched in the tombstone, Bill O'Brien and Dan Quinn. I'm going to read this one off. And Gase is gone after the season.
I agree.
No question asked. No question, he is gone, and he is out of the NFL. Another one, and you might fight me on this one, Matt Nagy of the Bears.
I would say he's not confirmed to be fired, but he's definitely on the hot seat.
His ass is cooking right now.
If the Bears can't come up with like a 10-6 record in the next few games, for the rest of the season, that he might. You know, it's either they go 10-6 or he gets a playoff win. He gets a playoff win, his job is saved, in my opinion. Yes. But if he misses the playoffs or loses the first game, I think he might be done.
Majority of coaches' jobs are safe, guaranteed if you make the playoffs and get in with a win. That is the only way I see Matt Nagy keeping his job guaranteed. He makes the playoffs. You know what? Yeah, the McCaskies might keep him around for maybe one more year.
It's also the fact that if he makes the playoffs, it could, because my thing is not always when it comes to the Bears is Matt Nagy going to be fired? It's more, okay, are we going to have to switch back to Trubisky, or are we just stuck with Nick Foles?
You can't go back to Trubisky. You cannot go back to a backup quarterback that is that bad. Look, Big Dick Nick might not be your future, but I mean, this is your quarterback you have in a win-all-now scenario, and this is what Nagy's trying to do to keep his job. He's hoping Big Dick Nick pulls something out of his butt, gets the Bears to the playoffs. It gets them that much needed win.
Let the records show that if we do make the playoffs, and Nick Foles does have a pretty good track record in the postseason.
That is true. That is
so it is possible if the Bears, they have to make the playoffs first, but if they do manage to do it, I do see a possible win in their future, depending on the matchup.
See what happens, especially with these crazy times and whatnot. I do have one more head coach I want to add. I just want to make sure I have the right name. Excuse me. Referring to the Jacksonville Jaguars and their head coach. Jeez. Oh man, I'm gonna get killed for this. Who's their head coach?
Doug Marrone. I want to say. I want to say Marrone's last name. Change of plans. Change of plans. I just looked it up. Doug Marrone was fired today.
What?
Doug Marrone was fired today.
No.
And guess who was his? And guess who was his?
Wait, where are you seeing this?
Let me look, because I heard somewhere that he got fired. Let me double check.
Holy cats! If he got fired today, oh man, have a premature celebration. That'd be awesome if he did. But no, the Jacksonville Jaguars, folks, Gardner Minshew is not the quarterback to rely on, and I know this team hasn't really done much since 2017, but a 1-7 record and potentially they're going to finish at the bottom of the AFC South. The Texans suck, but the Texans have Deshaun Watson.
Right. Like I'm trying to look right now to see if I can verify that he got fired.
The Jaguars have the uncle from Napoleon Dynamite starring for them. They basically have Uncle Rico playing for them. That's how bad this team is.
Okay, so all right. So I'm looking right now, and I can't confirm or deny whether or not he's been fired yet. But
the source might be valid. For all we know, it might be valid. The one win coming against.
I can't prove it, but Because the thing is, from the thing I'm reading right now, it says he was fired today, and they named Jay Gruden as the interim head coach. That's already suspect.
They're bringing back Jay Gruden.
That's already suspect to me. I'm like, really?
Jeez.
So, right, this may not make the podcast, folks, but we'll verify this as soon as we can.
You know what? Keep it on here because we want Doug Marone to be fired. We think he's not going to make it through. If he got fired today, it is what it is. Awesome timing on the podcast part. If not, you know what? His ass is cooked. He's done. All right. Who are your picks? Besides the ones I've said, or you can repeat what I said. Alrighty.
I agree with a lot of those. I would say at the very moment, if I were to put another one possibly on that list, just from this year alone, I would say if I would say this, if the Bills somehow suffer another major collapse,
really?
I do not see Sean McDermott staying around too much longer. If they suffer another major collapse,
You're gonna put Sean McDermott over Matt Patricia.
I thought that was like a foregone conclusion. He's gone.
He's gonna be back. He will unfortunately be back next year because the Fords are basically being sold steak oil, and they buy it up all the frickin' time. It takes them forever to fire head coaches or GMs, and they're going to give the excuses, oh, 2020 was a crazy year, but look, we had a winning streak, we were competitive, we played really hard in all our games, we deserve to be back. You know that's going to happen. Sean McDermott has a winning record. Are you kidding me right now?
But think about it. Yes, he has a winning record, but tell me this.
Who is going to come out of the
You have two playoffs and gone nowhere with them.
Who is going to come out of the AFC East and win this division besides the Bills? Who?
Who?
Are you nuts?
I would just say if you were on a team, if you were the coach of a team, and you made the play, and you keep had playoffs, but you keep every time you get to the playoffs, you choked away against the chokers of the Texans. I saw that game. I know that game hurt them, but damn it, the Patriots dynasty is finally dead. They have the opportunity to compete, finally take over the AFC East, take over and get out of the shadow of the Patriots. Yes, the Dolphins are on a roll, but I think Tua's magic is going to end very soon. Here's another name I want your opinion on, and I don't know how you feel about this, but would you put Joe Judge on the chopping block?
Ooh. I am going to say, I really don't want to say yes, but damn it, it's the Giants, guys. Daniel Jones has been proven, and I've said this last week, I said this in the podcast before, Daniel Jones is a hack. He doesn't know what he's doing. Joe Judge, as much as I have to say it, yeah, I could see it being gone at the end of this year.
Did we mention Zach Taylor on the list too?
No, we have not.
Okay, that's another one we'll throw on the list. Zach Taylor.
Wow. Man, you are going after coaches I didn't even consider.
I'll go after coaches.
The only reason why I don't think Joe Judge is going to be gone, first-year head coach. Unless he does something like a Freddie Kitchens or a Steve Wilkes sort of situation in Arizona, I could see him being gone. But I don't think Joe Judge is going to be gone after 2020. I'll take back what I said. I think he'll be back for next year, but he'll definitely have a different QB starting under him. The last person you said, repeat that again. Sorry, I'll ask myself in the rants.
Zach Taylor.
No, I don't see him being gone either. He is actually
after a 2-14 year the previous year, and he's 2-5-1 now.
You got Joe Burrow. You guys have actually performed very well with him. I know you guys are 2-5 with the tie kind of helping your record, make it look a little bit better, but not much. I think he'll be back next year.
If he finishes at the bottom, I don't see him being back.
The only games I've really questioned were his decision making with the Browns, the Bengals game, them losing it, maybe at 3-4-1, I'd say guaranteed be back, but this year with him having a 2-5-1 record, almost going to the halfway point, yeah, maybe there's a chance he gets fired, especially with last year's 2-14 record, but that is to be determined, I will say. Anyone else you want to add? Someone that I've mentioned probably a million times. You're not going to add him to the list?
I'd rather you do it.
Yeah, I'm not going to because I don't trust this organization with head coaching decisions. I think Patricia's going to be back next year. As much as it hurts me to say it, it is what it is.
Right.
With the 16-team format being mentioned, one of the questions I was going to ask, it's probably going to be a little irrelevant now. The team that was likely to be snubbed for the playoffs by the NFC East was blank.
It would be whatever. Like if you have a close, like none of the races in the playoffs are close now, but if you had a close race for the second and third spots in the division, that third place team is going to be really fucked over if they tie.
Yes. I would say the team I had chosen would have been the Cardinals or the Bears. I'm still going with those two teams.
If we were going with the old format, yes, I would say that. Because
it is crazy to even think about, but with the 16-team format, hopefully things will get better. That is the midseason predictions, unless you had any other ones you wanted to float out there.
Yes. Where do you see the Steelers are 8-0 right now. Where do you see them finishing?
I would say 14-2.
As a Steelers fan, I would say they go 13-3. But if they go 16-0, then oh my god, I will dance. I will dance. The only
games I could see them possibly losing right now would be against the Ravens. The rematch, that's going to be interesting. Maybe the Bears.
That rematch could possibly be a pre-playoff game. Like
for any team,
this could determine a lot of playoff fates. Is that game
exactly? Any team that's considered the Browns to be legit and compete with them, we need to have a talk. We need to sit you down and explain what you're trying to say.
Let's say in a hypothetical situation. Let's say this, only because I'm looking at it from a statistical perspective. Let's say Steelers go 14-2. Ravens go 12-4, and the Browns go 10-6. You're really gonna say right now that the Browns don't deserve to be in the playoffs under this format? Under this format,
and you are really making my head throb right now.
Like even under the old format, when we just had the two wildcard teams,
I would hate to see the Browns make it in before the Lions, but yes. Unfortunately, yes, I have to say that is something we do have to consider.
It's like, let's even go back to the old format where you had the two wildcard teams. It's entirely possible that how many times has a team gone 10-6 or at least 11-5 and missed the playoffs?
The Browns. The Browns got snubbed in, I think it was 2002. When I want to say it was 10-6 or 11-5, and they missed the playoff. Okay, 9-7. Excuse me.
Okay, not the same thing. Not the same thing, though.
It was a 11-5 team that missed the playoff, and I thought it was recently.
I'm looking it up.
Hold on. Two teams that finished 11-5 and have not made the playoffs. The Denver Broncos in 1985 and the Patriots in 2008. That was when they were without Tom Brady. We talked about this last week, man. My God. How the hell could I forget that? Jeezy, Pete's. That is a scenario. That is a truly worthy scenario to consider regular times. A 10-6 or 11-5 team missing the playoffs. As for those,
I would say Kansas City Chiefs back in 2005. They went 10-6.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one right there. That's a good example. See, the Steelers, I feel like they could possibly lose their game or two because let's be honest, some of the games they played have been dog crap.
They also lost to the Cowboys on Sunday. That should have never happened.
With a little bit of hesitation in my voice, we will see what happens going forward.
Okay,
that that is the midseason outlook and predictions. Moving on, do you just want to quickly glance over college football real fast, or are you kind of good?
I would say this entire season of college football just leads me to say there unless either make this whole thing like the NFL a 16-team playoff or don't do a playoff. Because you cannot accurately determine what is the four best teams given this climate. You can't.
Oh, you can't. And unfortunately, we might see a team like Wisconsin that doesn't deserve to make it in, maybe make it in, for example. A team that has missed 2 games thanks to COVID, not because of losses, but because of COVID.
LSU Alabama is going to be that game's not going to be played because of COVID.
Yeah, it's really disheartening to say, but I mean, we had teams
that to me will be very unfair because those two teams don't play that game, there is a strong possibility. The way I could forecast out, there's a strong possibility that Alabama and LSU don't play, then both teams are going to make the playoffs.
I think LSU sucks. Wait a second. Alabama, you need to get in. That's the NCAA's cash cow. Include them. If they have 3 losses, they get in. Saw them in 16 with 2 losses, they'll get in, or 17 with 2 losses. You'll see them getting with 3 losses, unfortunately. The NCAA is hot and horny, the Crimson Tide, to get into the playoffs. They'll do everything they can.
Crimson Tide got its butt kicked by Clemson. Shouldn't Clemson be a new cash cow because you got the new face of the college football and Trevor Lawrence?
See, you lost to Notre Dame in a game you shouldn't have lost. Trevor Lawrence is healthy. No question, Clemson would have won.
Oh, I will talk about Notre Dame in a small moment, but I'll just make a small flip about Notre Dame. For the second time in the past month, emotion won over safety, and now everyone has to pay for it. All I could say is that
the ACC has not said anything as of right now. I know what you're trying to say, and yes, that definitely shouldn't happen. It was a crazy win, and emotion took over.
Emotion took over, just like emotion took over with the Dodgers World Series victory. But I'm more forgiving of the Dodgers than I am with Notre Dame.
I'm kind of the opposite because, I mean, you still gotta celebrate. In some ways, yes, it makes sense to celebrate the way they did,
because the difference is it's a play. Because to me personally, the difference is a player versus fans. Things that's
a big deal.
Yeah, that to me is two separate things, and it's like one thing where I forgive one more than the other.
I will credit is Notre Dame's response: get all the players and all the coaching staff off the field. As soon as that happened, they were rushing for the exits, with the exception of a couple players that got stuck in the kerfuffle. Even Clemson did the same thing, and you got to give props to the players and coaches for doing that.
You know what I can think of? In the case of how some of these schools are punishing students for violating COVID-19 protocols, what punishment could you have for something like this?
In terms of to the students or to the athletic program? I could say a huge fine by the athletic program.
I would say
maybe scholarship loss.
I would say with the athletic program, it'd be more of a fine than athletics loss, because this wasn't their doing. This is not saying, okay, we'll let them come on. No, this is just them storming the field for storming the field.
It was the students, and like I said,
and in that terms, we'll flip it with I will flip that with the MLB. The difference between, okay, like I said, I'm more forgiving with the MLB situation than I am with the college football situation in terms of the actual participants. With the program behind it, I'm more mad at the MLB than I am at the athletic program at Notre Dame.
And if we're being honest, Notre Dame hasn't exactly been the best with the coronavirus response, with their university president having it and then going to the Rose Garden. That was a bit of a kerfuffle back in July. So Notre Dame's definitely been in the news as of recently with COVID, and it blew my mind to see students rush the field.
Like personally, I would say that even though I would have no direct say on it, and I have no dog in this fight, but I feel that all the students, because I can't fully say 100% all those people who stormed the field were directly students, but all those that did storm the field, you should be punished. You should be punished. Some fines. Some.
Are you talking about possibly bans?
What?
Talk about possibly banned, like a temporary banishment.
Well, in some schools I'm aware of, violation of COVID-19 protocol would be suspension from the school, which I feel for some of these students, I could see them being suspended.
That's too much, man.
I can see some, but at the same time, I feel like you can't really do a real punishment without either pissing off a lot of people and going over the line. It's like we had this discussion with Tennessee Titans. What would be a fitting punishment? Because in some cases, depending on the punishment, it's either not enough or over the line. There's no middle ground.
What punishment resulted in a huge fine and a 6th round pick lost? I understand why they did it. The Raiders had the same thing happen to them. The Raiders got fined, the head coach got fined, and they lost a 6th round pick. So it makes sense to what they did. You can't really take away a draft pick in college football, but you can take away scholarships. That's what I think will probably happen, or probably come out of the NCAA if they do decide to punish.
I would say if they have to look into it, because when I look at the Raiders and the Titans, that was a team decision, and that was a team decision, and I wouldn't say a direct front office decision, but that was their decision. Go do it. I want to know if the NCAA does an investigation into Notre Dame, if this was something that Notre Dame knew was going to happen and they let it happen anyway, or they tried to stop it but it still happened. Because if they shown that they tried to stop it but still not happening, you shouldn't punish them that severely for it.
Exactly.
You should punish the dumbass students.
Yes. All right. We will punish the dumbass.
I would say someone has to take the brunt of punishment. But we have to look into the investigation. I would say I'm willing to put faith in Notre Dame that they tried to prevent this from happening. Mm-hmm. And I will
give Notre Dame credits.
But this is just me saying it. I haven't heard any evidence saying that. No investigation saying that they tried to stop it or they let it happen. It's
right.
This is just an opinion of a fan who spent most of his life watching his teams go down the toilet.
Exactly. Speaking of teams going down the toilet and referring to the great state of India, how about them Hoosiers? 3-0, baby! And you pretty much
did you have a bell? Did you have a legit bell just now?
Yes, that was my cowbell, baby. Hoosiers are 3-0. You cannot take this season away from them, and you cannot frickin' asterisk this. They beat Michigan and Jim frickin' Harbaugh, and everybody here in the great state of Michigan wants his ass fired out of a cannon immediately. The greatest thing that might possibly come out of this shitty year is we might lose our terrible head coach. Has been overhyped, has not done anything, has not beat Ohio State, has not got us to India, has not got us to a fucking playoff. Oh, hallelujah, how the gods have treated us with a gift. Indiana beat Michigan for the first time in 33 fucking years. And that feels goddamn amazing.
And the sad thing is I didn't watch the game. I did not see that game. We talked about it over the phone, but I did not see the game.
Oh, I was so enthusiastic. I've been enthusiastic since the frickin' Penn State game, since the climactic ending. And everyone dismissed Indiana as just like, oh, Michigan's going to rebound with a nice after a dismantling loss at your rival to Michigan State. Indiana is basically like a carpet. We walk over them every year. It's a rebound win. We're guaranteed to have this one. Not so fast, man. Bloomington's got a surprise. And I will say this right now. Great for Indiana, because Indiana and Purdue have been traditionally horrific Big Ten football programs. And I really hate to say that about your home state, man. It sucks, but Purdue's been good too, if I'm correct. Purdue has a winning record, from what I remember, and they're playing conference this season. They're first in the Big Ten. What? Purdue is okay, I might be ringing the
You
bell.
remember there's two divisions. Remember, there's two divisions in the Big Ten.
They're 2-0. They're 2-0 right now. Wow, good for you guys. They beat Iowa and Illinois. I have a test coming up in 2 weeks against Northwestern, but I don't like the Boilermakers, but great for the state of Indiana. Meanwhile, Michigan Athletics and Michigan State are in the frickin' toilet. And how do you feel?
To be honest, not as happy as I should be, because I still say this whole season doesn't mean anything in the long run. But
come on. As a Hoosier, speaking to a fellow Hoosier, you're not going to celebrate a 3-0 start.
I will celebrate the 3-0 start. I'll raise my glass to that. But I'm just saying at the moment, it's like when personally I feel that this whole season doesn't mean anything in the long run. It's hard to really fully throw myself and go, whoa, yeah, 3-0. It's just like,
Coffee coming in with that signature enthusiasm. Give it up for Coffee. Woo!
When this whole thing doesn't mean much. When personally I feel this whole college football season doesn't mean squat in the long run.
And I get what you're trying to say. I fully understand what you're getting at, but you can't take you talk to the players. You're not gonna get them to admit that.
I know.
I don't feel like an asterisk. To them it won't, and to the majority of the general public, to
anyone that's won a championship this year, of course it's not going to feel like an asterisk. You won the championship, but I'm just saying in the long run.
I wish the bubble format was more of an asterisk, because you had to shut down the regular season. College football and the NFL, you didn't have to shut down the regular season. It happened during the off season, and you've had to build around it. Yes, some conferences did shut down. I know we stayed on the subject for a long time, but I will say this. The Big Ten and the Pac-12 shut down thinking everyone else was going to shut down. What everyone else said, no, you're stupid. We're going to keep playing football. And then the topic of how to play safely was thrown out the window, and the almighty dollar prevailed with the NCAA, and teams were like, fuck it, we'll come back, and we'll try to play a season by state conference only, which I could see why you would maybe make that an argument for the case of an asterisk season and whatnot. But, I mean, we need some sense of normalcy, and I'm honestly excited to see college football back, because I didn't give two rats about it last year or the previous year.
All right. I said my thing about college football.
I have too, man.
So let's go to the NBA for a moment. They've officially decided December 22nd, the NBA is coming back. 72 games.
And yet you have LeBron bitching that it's too quick of a turnaround for him. Guess what? Teams in the bubble didn't play for more than 200 days. Boo-hoo. Get over it. Play the damn game.
My complaint with this whole thing with LeBron's whining is that I understand your concern, but at the same time, you just won a championship. You won a championship, and your opponent said to go back to back. And with the rest of the league, look, free agency is going to be shortened this year. The draft is going to be kind of neutered this year. What do you have to complain about? You're in the perfect position to run it back and get another one.
Exactly, and he just thinks it's too quick of a turnaround. Am I shocked? Okay, the one thing I'm shocked with, and it's not the start date. I thought it was going to be around Christmas time or going into the new year. The fact that they're playing a 72-game season shocks me. I think that's too much, in my opinion. I think a 60-game schedule would have made much more sense. 72, I feel like you're pushing it.
Well, here's the question. With this new schedule, do you know when they're going to do the playoffs at?
No. That's the big thing. Are they trying to get back to a normal schedule, as in preseason October and regular season start in November 2021? Are they trying to do this 2020-21 season in order to fit that format and get back to normalcy?
You're not getting that. You're not. If that's the case, you're not getting that.
It will 72 games?
No, I'm saying you're trying to do this to fit the time frame to get back to normalcy. You're not going to.
The only reason why I think they're doing this.
You're not going to do that. That's not going to happen.
Unless you have a quicker turnaround for the off season.
Because if you wanted to do that, one, you wouldn't have did 72 games. You would have gone to like 65 or even 50.
Exactly.
Or even 50.
Why the hell are you going with 72? Unless you're trying to go with the almighty dollar and trying to make up for some of that lost revenue you had in the bubble. See, they're going to allow fans. What I have heard is the NBA is going to allow suites to open up with the potential to expand to general seating at a later time.
Which, okay, I have a very, some call it weird, but here's my opinion when it comes to having fans at games in this climate. If you can do it safely, and if it does go wrong, you can contain it, then all power to you. If you can do it. The thing is, no one has proven they can do it.
And the NFL, you might say, oh, but the NFL, the NFL is
the NFL is outdoors. The majority of all NFL games are outdoor, and if it's not outdoor, they have a big enough stadium, good enough air circulation to do it.
I think as if you're gonna do it with fans, no concessions. Bring your own food from home. Heightened security.
No. Here's the thing with the suites idea. I actually would not be against that idea. The only thing is that you have to make it fair play for everyone to get one. Lower the price, make COVID testing mandatory, but you have to get fair play for everyone to get one.
I think rapid testing is going to become a thing that the NBA is going to heavily use if they are going to want fans to come back. But the suites idea is a great idea. It gives you some of the best seats in the house. It's separated from other people. You're in your own room.
If there's only one rule the NBA should follow, and I say same thing in the NFL, zero contact between fans and players. Under no circumstances do they ever come close to each other. Like I would even say if there was even an accident where, like, say LeBron James is walking down hall and there's a fan there, you tackle the fan, you get him the hell out of there.
It makes sense. It absolutely does.
Like you do not put them anywhere. You do not put them anywhere near the players. So that way, if the players suffer the virus, it only stays with the players.
I have confidence.
We do not need another Gobert situation.
The NBA and the NHL both ran the bubble successfully, and I think they'll incorporate what they took away from the bubble going into the regular season with regular venues being at their current home facilities instead of Walt Disney World or Toronto for the NHL.
Well, the downside with Toronto is that because Canada's not allowing. They don't consider NBA teams essential business, so they would have to set up base somewhere here in the U.S.
Wait. What's that mean for the Raptors?
Rumor had it. I don't remember if this was the Raptors or an NHL team, but they were thinking about setting up base in Nashville.
I would say Syracuse for the Raptors. Play at the Carrier Dome.
Let me check.
Oh boy, I didn't even think about this.
Yeah. That's the whole thing. Yeah, it says a report here that Nashville is considered temporary home for Toronto Raptors.
Really?
Because the alternative is they play in New Jersey, and the rumor there is that they do not want to go to New Jersey.
Play in upstate New York, close to your market, and play at Syracuse. The Carrier Dome has had a history with the NBA, and that is a premier facility for a venue that's super close to y'all. Fan base.
All right. How far is Syracuse from? Like, I failed geography.
Hold on, Syracuse is upstate New York. I would say you have to go closer to Montreal before you could turn down. Give me 1 second here. Stand by, because I'm thinking like what they did with Buffalo.
Because I was about to say, how far is Buffalo from Syracuse? Because
8 hours and 57 minutes.
That's not bad.
I think that's doable. Or maybe do like a dual facility in Cleveland might make more sense. But why Nashville?
I think there's no NBA team in. Was there an NBA team in Tennessee? There's no NBA teams in Tennessee, I think.
That's on the western side. I mean, Nashville's kind of close. You're talking maybe like a 2-3 hour drive away. But personally, I think it makes more sense to go to Syracuse than it does to stay in the deep South. I mean, my God, that's crazy.
I would also kind of agree with that, but at the same time, this is the NBA trying to figure out the best plan, and the NBA is showing, hey, they're trying. They're trying to work out the logistics of this. So I'd say I trust them enough to let them figure it out.
Or you make you already make the Seattle area horny and let them play there for a season. Tease them with the possibility of an NBA team coming back. Why the hell not? Not a bad.
That'd be the ultimate tease, though, for a season.
And that probably would make practical sense geography wise for Raptors to do that. But
wait, where's Toronto in relation to Seattle? Outside of the Canadian border.
Are you kidding me?
Like I said,
it's almost right on the border.
Like I said, I don't know anything about geography. I have no idea.
Almost like it's within an hour of the border.
Like here's the okay, folks. Here's the truth about me and geography. I can name a lot of major cities in a lot of states and a lot of countries, but I can't tell you where they are on a map.
You're talking to a guy that drew maps growing up, and you're talking to a guy that probably would have majored geography if he had his choice, if he had the opportunity to do college over again. What I will say is Seattle makes sense because it's about an hour away from the border. You have that Canadian-American appeal. They are a former NBA town, and they have been hungry for NBA basketball. So why not give them this golden opportunity?
I'm sorry, you just remind me of something stupid. It's a sidebar, but you remind me of something hilarious.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
Do you have anything else you want to add on the 72-game season before we move on?
The only thing I could say is that you have a plan. Let's hope you stick with it. All power to you. If you're going full steam with this, I wish you the best.
Same. Keep it safe. Anything happens, shut it down. Whatever happens, however. So we just gotta go on with that. One more thing here before we end the podcast. My one thing, I really hate to bring this up, and I know he was just recently hired, but Tony De La Russa's DUI. I know this was a while back in February. This has just kind of come to light and whatnot. It kind of blew my mind that you hired this guy and then the news surfaces with the DUI charge. And this is Tony's first time running into the law with drinking and driving. In 2007, he got busted, and at the time he said, "This was the dumbest thing I've ever done. I will never allow us to do this again. I will never allow this to happen again." He comes out of retirement in 2020, and you find out this February in Arizona, he popped positive, but when you read the facts, it was so damning. He refused to take the test. Did
you see the quote? It's gonna be the main quote of this video, but
just read it.
According to some of the transcripts, one of the things that was said is, "Do you see my ring? I'm a Hall of Famer." That to me is like, dude,
that is one of the most 2020 things I've ever heard. Come on, you're kidding. He did not say that.
Like I said, I'm trying to verify an official transcript because I'm trying to find footage of this. Well, if he said that,
the audacity, and I do not want to mention this, but you had a pitcher that died days before your prior DUI. Do you remember the story?
Yeah. Like I'm trying to find an official video or like an official transcript or like a body cam or something. Because all I have is the word of ESPN, Yahoo Sports. I'm trying to find like actual footage of this.
Christ, this is nuts. If that is true, I'm in utter disbelief. If that is true, like holy crap, that is terrible. Please find out this actually happened, because
I really need to verify this, because this is one of those things where had it just been a normal DUI, I can't believe I'm saying this. Had it just been a normal DUI
and
he was cooperative, I would say you can't.
It would have been this big of a deal.
But the fact he pulled all this, the fact if what he says is true, if he said all this, and it's 100% certified he did say this, then I would say he's gone. I would fire him. I don't want that to me is like someone's like you're hired, and this comes out as like you're fired now.
Mm-hmm. Precisely, my friend. Precisely. Yes, Josh Hancock was arrested. Excuse me, not before. Josh Hancock died in a DUI accident about a month after La Russa got arrested. So that was pretty much a terrible timing, terrible coincidence for that to happen for the Cardinals organization. But, I mean, my God, in terms of stupidity regards to coaching hires and then something like this coming out. You had the bombshell allegations with Matt Patricia, the sexual assault allegations. This happened in 1996, that service that came to light, and people questioned the PR process of, did you guys really look over his history before hiring this guy? Because holy shit, that is something pretty serious to skim over. La Russa's thing is he's had a prior history of drinking and driving, and if the Sox did not know beforehand, that looks really bad on your part. That is almost dismissible.
Like, when's the last time has a coach did something so bad? Oh wait, it wasn't a coach. It was a freaking owner of the New York. It was the owner of the New York Knicks. When's the last time someone's been so much of an, excuse my language, folks, been so much of an asshole and still managed to keep his job or still managed to be around? I can't think of anyone worse than James Dolan of the New York Knicks.
Oh, God, which incident? Which one are you referencing?
I can think of like a bunch of instances.
Yeah, but just with that, it's just mine. It's just mind-numbing.
It to me is like one of those things where I would actually say this 100%. If he's around from the season and it just gets worse from here, I'm sorry, I cannot support the White Sox in this state.
Oh, Jesus.
I'll still watch the games. I'll still cheer for a team, but I will not have any joy in this. I will look at the front office and look at you with the look of shame.
Are you surprised Rick Renteria was fired? That was my thing. He made the playoffs. Yes, it was in a weird year.
Yeah, in a weird year, he made the playoffs, and yes, he also did choke. But come on, this is still a team that's figuring stuff out. They're getting their S together. They're getting it all in a bag, and they're getting it together. He should have had at least best case scenario another year.
They were slowly improving because they were fourth his first 2 years, and then they're going down third and second. Who knows? Maybe 2021 would have brought them a first place finish in this crazy division that we call the AL Central.
And best case scenario, maybe 2023, 2024, we might see a World Series run.
Not anymore, though. Not with a drunk.
Not anymore. So yeah, that's all. I'm trying to think what would be my one more thing. We kind of covered at the beginning with Mr. Trebek. Rest in peace.
Amen to that. And
I would say possibly my one last thing would be congratulations to Chase Elliott for winning the NASCAR Cup Series.
24, the third youngest guy ever to win it.
Yeah, congratulations. But in my defense, sorry to step on your toes, NASCAR fans. It should never came to this. This whole playoff system is still the worst thing to happen to this sport.
I couldn't disagree with that statement.
Like I could go on a full 20-minute rant and defense of why the playoff system is terrible, but I'm just not feeling it today. I'll just say this. I'll just say this. You can't win. It's different. It's different when you're playing multiple teams over at the same time and beat them all, and then all of a sudden you have 2 or 3 bad weeks, and all of a sudden you're out of the championship.
I agree with that because the whole season rides on
it's different in some sports because here's the thing: you're not playing everyone at the same time. But let's take the European soccer leagues for a minute, the European football leagues. They always do a system where If you win a game, you get 3 points. If you lose a game, you get 0 points. If you draw, you get 1 point. The team that performs the best is the team that wins the most. So therefore, the team that wins the most wins the title. Which then you could definitely crown that's the best team of the year. You could definitely crown like that.
Because the points, it's different.
With the playoff system, with the modern playoff system we have in American sports, here's the one thing. Let's take a look back. There's some people that could argue that the Heat didn't deserve to be in the NBA Finals. There's some people that say that. There's a few people that say LA deserved the finals, but here's my thing. LA, they had to win 3 series to get to the finals. The Heat, they had to win 3 series to get to the finals. They only crossed paths 1 or 2 times in the season, but outside of that, it's not like it would be entirely different. Let's say that the championship came down to 1 game or 1 series. And let's say hypothetically that it was just the Heat and the Lakers playing 72 games repeatedly, and the LA Lakers won all 72 games. Now comes the series that actually counts, and they lose that series. And they're like, oh, they're not the champion. Oh no, they don't deserve to be champion. That doesn't freaking count.
Doesn't compute.
That does not compute. That's what I just described is essentially what Kevin Harvick did for most of the season. He was dominating most of the season. He beat 39 other drivers most of the season repeatedly and get to the playoff system. But because of the playoff system, he has 1 or 2 bad weeks. Oh, he's out.
Yeah. Imagine a guy placing second, like consecutive weeks. A guy, the other driver wins a couple races in a row, and he has 2 or 3 bad weeks. And when you check out the standings, the second place guy is ahead of the guy that's won all those races. And you're just throwing your pamphlet, your program in the air, and it's that's kind of what happened when they went for the chase for the cup.
That's kind of what happened when they did the chase for the cup. But the thing with the chase for the cup is that from a theoretical standpoint, you were still in the championship all 10 races.
Yeah.
You can have a bad week here or there, but you're not in risk of completely being out of the championship.
I said the format with you last week about once it gets narrowed down, take out the drivers that aren't racing.
Yeah, do it like they did in cars, where okay, so you have the final 4 racers. Just let the final 4 go. Forget the other 36 drivers. Just let the final 4 go at it.
It makes the most sense to do that because I don't see why you would want to have someone that's at the bottom of the standings race and potentially interfere.
Like the way NASCAR is set up now, the way the playoffs set up now, theoretically, the 16th seed could theoretically win the whole championship.
Mm-hmm.
Let that sink in with the way the NASCAR playoffs are set up. Because the one rule about NASCAR playoffs that's always been kind of like what I call the bane of the playoffs is win and you're in. If you win, it doesn't matter what you do next 2 weeks, you're guaranteed the next round.
The whole field could wreck out and a rookie could come across and win, and he's in the playoff. Even though
he's in the next round. Because he's in the next round. So you win, you're in the next round. Now, the thing is, when I look at the top 16 of a lot of NASCAR drivers, I say, okay, I can realistically say that at some point in time, these 16 can win a race. Race. Now it's the races that count. But the problem is, like I said, hold on. Like let's imagine this. Let's imagine, like I know I'm going over my time for the one more thing, but let me say this. Let me say this. Imagine, because this scenario happened. You're in the top 5 the first 3 races. You make enough points, you're in the next round. You're in the top 5 those 3 races. You make the rest round. You have 1 bad week. You're on the back foot. Okay, I'm on the back foot. I can still come up. You didn't do as well as you did, but you can still come in and win this. But then comes the win and you're in rule, which means that now you have to fight for that. You have to fight very hard again because Kevin Harvick had to literally dive bomb Kyle Busch. You had to dive bomb Kyle Busch for a chance to make enough points because he wasn't going to win to get to that final 4.
And it didn't work out for him.
This whole playoff system in NASCAR to me is just proof that you guys are failing as a whole. You guys are failing as a sport. You guys are driving all the old NASCAR fans away. I'm not going to see too many new fans coming in anytime soon. And the brightest thing you got going for you is that the most popular driver won. That's the only thing you got going for you. The rest of it, it's falling apart.
Precisely, my friend. Well, guys.
All right. Yep. That's it for Cellar County. This is Coffee, Butch on the other end. We'll see you guys. See you guys next time.
See you guys. And last piece of note: R.I.P. to Alex.
R.I.P. to Alex.